Let's read the question number 68. Let A1, A2, A3 and so on up to A49 be in AP such that summation K goes from 0 to 12 A4K plus 1 equals 416 and A9 plus A43 is equal to 66. If A1 square plus A2 square and so on up to A17 square is 140M, then M is equal to, and the options are 66, 68, 34, 33. So as the question reads, A1, A2, A3, A4 and so on A49 are 49 terms of an AP. As it is an AP, we can begin taking first term as A and common difference as D. So the next information is K goes from 0 to 12 summation A4K plus 1 is equal to 4 and 16, which means if I put K is equal to 0, it will become A1. If I put K is equal to 1, it will become A5. If I put K is equal to 2, it will become A9. And if I put K is equal to 12, it will become A49. So A1 plus A5 plus A9 up to A49 would be 416. So if you look at the second information, the K begins with 0 and ends at 12. What does it mean? It means that there are total 13 terms added in the summation. Therefore, you can see that 6 on the left and 6 on the right. So the seventh term, that is K is equal to 6, since K is equal to 0 is the first term. So seventh term would be the middle term and seventh term will have K is equal to 6 value because K is equal to 0 is the first term. And we have taken equally separated terms from an AP which will also be an AP, which means A1, A5, A9 and A49 are basically 13 terms of a new AP. Thus we can directly apply middle term results. If you look at the third information, A9 plus A43 is equal to 16. In the third information, sum of A9 and A43 is given, which we can say A26 will be half of its sum. Again, the middle term concept is very much valid in AP. And finally, it is given A1 square plus A2 square plus A3 square and so on up to A17 square is 140M and we have to find M. So using all the information given in the question, we can easily predict the original series and then we'll follow the question's instruction for the square series to find our best option. So let's begin. So moving to the second part of our analysis, that is detailed solution. So we'll begin with let A1 equals A and the common difference equals D. So as we know, K is equal to 6, which is the seventh term, is the middle term of this series. So if I put K is equal to 6 in this part, I'll get A25. So A25 would be our middle term. So the middle term, applying the middle term concept, we can say 416 by 13, which makes it 32. So we can say A25 equals 32 and A25 would be nothing but A plus 24D. So our first equation is A plus 24D is equal to 30. Since we know A9 plus A43 is twice of A26 because 26 would be lying exactly in the middle of A9 and A43. So we can say A26 would be 33, which gives me the equation, the second equation, A plus 25D is equal to 33. So solving equation 1 and equation 2, we'll get A is equal to 8 and D is equal to 1. Now putting the value A is equal to 8 and D is equal to 1 in this equation, it will become 8 square plus 9 square plus 10 square up to 24 square is 140M. Rearranging it, I can write it like 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus up to 24 square minus 1 square plus 2 square up to 7 square, since we added the first 7 terms of a square series. Now applying, as we know, sigma n square is n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 by 6. So applying the sum of squares of first 24 natural numbers, it will become 24 into 25 into 49 by 6 by putting n is equal to 24. Now applying the same result for the first 7 terms, we can say 7 into 8 into 15 by 6 equals 140M. Now if you simplify it, it will become 4900. If you simplify it, it will become 140. So 4900 minus 140 is 140M, which will give me M is equal to 34. Hence option 3 is the correct choice, because as I can see 33 is in option 3. So our answer is option 3. Now in the third part of our analysis, that is concept, we'll be discussing the middle term. So when total number of terms is odd, when you see total number of terms is odd, where exactly is middle term? So the middle term would be 4, because if you see there are 7 terms, 3 would be on the left and 3 would be on the right. That makes the 4th term as our middle term. So if I can say T4 would be formalizing it, it will become T into 7 plus 1 by 2. So I can say T middle is T of n plus 1 by 2. So when total number of term is n, the middle term is going to be T n plus 1 by 2. And now when total number of terms is even, I can see total 8 terms are there, T4 here and 4 terms here. So if I see there is not one single middle term, but there are 2 middle terms. So we can call that there is not one specific middle term, but we have a way here. We'll manipulate our result. We'll call that hypothetical middle term in the above series as T4.5. Why we are saying the hypothetical term as 4.5? Because this is hypothetical lying between T4 and T5, which is not a part of series. As you can see, there is no middle term when total number of terms is even, but here is one theoretical middle term which is not a part of the series but a hypothetical one. So if you see, we'll call when total numbers of terms is 8, we'll say the term lying between T4 and T5. So there is no term lying between T4 and T5, but we can say the average of T4 and T5. That makes it T4.5. And if I say total number of terms is 8, so I can say T8 plus 1. So we can say T middle is Tn plus 1 by 2. Again, you have to understand this middle term is not a part of series, so this is not the real middle term, but for applications in arithmetic progression it has a great application, so we are going to use it in our problem solving part. So we'll just consider a hypothetical middle term and we'll see how we use it. So concluding, when total number of term is n, n could be odd, n could be even. When n is odd, middle term exists and T middle is Tn plus 1 by 2. And when n is even, middle term does not exist, or we sometimes say 2 middle terms exist. But our hypothetical middle term, which is not a part of series, so we are not going to call this as the real middle term, but it will be used in problem solving part. So we'll be calling that as hypothetical, and we'll be writing T middle is T of n plus 1 by 2. Remember, this is hypothetical. Hypothetical middle term is not the middle term of the series. Significance of middle term in an AP. If you see there, I took total 5 terms: A plus D, A plus 2D, A plus 3D, A plus 4D, and I took, so the total number of terms is odd, and as you can see A plus 2D is lying in the middle. So if you take first term from the and the last term together, it will become 2A plus 4D. If you take second term and second last term, it will again become 2A plus 4D, and if you double the middle term, it will become 2A plus 4D. So I can say that A plus 2D is the average of this series. So hypothetically, middle term will be the average. So now when the total number of terms is even, if you see the first term, the second term, the third term, the fourth term, the fifth term, the sixth term. Now, if you see the first term and the sixth term, the sum is 2A plus 5D. If you see the second and the second last term, again the sum is 2A plus 5D. And if you see the third and the third last term, again the sum is 2A plus 5D. So we can say the middle guy between A plus 2D and A plus 3D, that is the real average. So hence we can say the hypothetical middle term is the average. So when the number of terms is odd, the middle term is the average of the whole series, and when the total number of terms is even, then also the hypothetical middle term will be the average. So concluding, for an AP, T middle is its average. Sn is n into T middle. When n is odd, T middle is a part of an AP. When n is even, T middle is the hypothetical term which lies in between the two middle terms. So if I say Sn is n into T middle, which means Sn is n into Tn plus 1 by 2. It is applicable in AP for n, no matter whether it is even or odd. but we have to just remember that when n is even, the middle term is just the hypothetical one. One additional concept to talk about, and that is telescopic series. Very important as far as your IIT JEE mains and advanced is concerned, and we'll see what exactly is telescopic series. But before that, we must understand this question first. If this question says if tnth, the nth term is 8 to the power n plus 1 minus 8 to the power n, then find Sn. So if you focus, it has given as a difference of some series, and that series follows the rank of n plus 1 and n. So we'll try to decode it. First we'll write t1 as a square minus a1, t2 would be a cube minus a square, t3 would be a4 minus a cube, tn minus 2 would be a to the power n minus 1 minus a to the power n minus 2, t to the power n minus 1 would be a to the power n minus a to the power n minus 1, and tn would be a to the power n plus 1 minus a to the power n. So if you see, if I am going to add all this t1 plus t2 plus t3 and so on up to tn, this whole summation is called Sn. So if you see, this a square here is in positive sign and here as negative signs. A cube as positive, a cube as negative, a4 positive, and same way all these terms would start getting cancelled. It will start getting cancelled. You will just be left with this and this. So I can say Sn is a to the power n plus 1 minus a1. So concluding, I can say if Tn is f of n plus 1 minus fn, then Sn is fn plus 1 minus f1, which means n plus 1, the bigger guy, will remain unchanged, and the smaller guy, that is ranked with n, n would be replaced by 1. So in the same way, if the difference is otherwise also, that Tn is fn minus fn plus 1, here the smaller guy is at positive sign and the bigger guy is at negative sign, but still doesn't matter. The bigger guy will remain as it is unchanged with the same sign, and the smaller guy would be replaced n with f1. So make it a rule. Now let's try to solve. If Tn is equal to n, you have to find Sn, means you have to find the sum of first n natural numbers. We'll try to write our n as some bigger guy minus a smaller guy, where it could be written as fn plus 1 minus fn. So if you see, we can easily write n equals n into n plus 1 by 2 minus n minus 1 into n by 2, which I can definitely say this is f of n plus 1 and this as f of n. So if I open it up, we'll get n square by 2 plus n by 2 minus n square by 2 by n by 2, which gives me n. So yes, I can say that n can be written as f of n plus 1 minus fn. So Tn is equal to n, which is n into n plus 1 by 2 minus n minus 1 into n by 2. As we know, it is f of n plus 1 and it is f of n. Now, as we have seen in the last example, that if Tn is written as fn plus 1 minus fn, Sn would be, the bigger guy will remain unchanged and the smaller guy would be replaced by n is equal to 1. So if I say Sn will become n into n plus 1 by 2 unchanged, and I'll try to put n is equal to 1 in this expression, it will become 1 minus 1 into 1 upon 2, which makes it as 0 into 1 by 2. So we are just left with n into n plus 1 by 2. So hence we can say the sum of first n natural numbers is n into n plus 1 by 2. Now what about adding all the squares of first n natural numbers? So which means if Tn is n square, we have to find Sn. So let's try to write again Tn is equal to n square as a difference of some bigger guy minus smaller guy. So if I focus, I can write n square as an n into n plus 1 upon into 2n plus 1 upon 6 minus n minus 1 into n into 2n minus 1 upon 6. So if you simplify it, you will get n square. So yes, we can say we have successfully written n square as the f of n plus 1 minus fn, since fn is this, and if I replace n with n plus 1, I'll get this expression. Now applying the result that if Tn is fn plus 1 minus fn, so Sn is going to be fn plus 1 minus f1. So putting it, it will remain unchanged, n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 upon 6 into 1 minus 1 into 1 into 2 minus 1 upon 6, which makes it n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 upon 6. So I can say sum of first sum of squares of first natural numbers, n natural numbers, is going to be n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 by 6. Now before we discuss the sum of cubes, let's look at one of the IIT JEE question. The question says, show that 4n cube is n into n plus 1 whole square minus n into n minus 1 whole square, and then find summation of r cube, where r goes from 1 to n, which means you have to find the sum of first cubes of first n natural numbers. So solution will just start with beginning. It's a very simple class 8 9th level questions that you just have to choose left hand side and right hand side. I'll just open up the right hand side, n into n plus 1 whole square minus n into n minus 1 whole square. I can see n here, I can see n here, so I can take out n square common. I'll be left with n plus 1 whole square minus n minus 1 whole square. I can apply a square minus b square. I'll get n plus 1 plus n minus 1 into n plus 1 minus n minus minus 1, which makes it plus 1. So this will make it 1 and 1 will get cancelled. This will become 2n, and this n would be cancelled and we'll be left with 2. So this will become 4n cube. So I can say yes, LH is equal. And now applying n cube as n into n plus 1 by 2 whole square minus n into n minus 1 upon 2 whole square, which I can say it is written as f of n plus 1 minus fn. So as we know, the Sn would be, the bigger guy will remain unchanged, and the smaller guy would be replaced by n equals 1. So it will become n into n plus 1 by 2 whole square minus 1 into 0 by 2 whole square, which is 0. So Sn would be n into n plus 1 by 2 whole square. Hence I can say the summation of first r cubes, 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube up to n cube, would be n into n plus 1 by 2 whole square. How about power 4, which means how to add this 1 to the power 4 plus 2 to the power 4 up to n to the power 4. Now the hint is we can think of n plus 1 to the power 5 minus n to the power 5, which will be a polynomial of degree 4, which I can say would be equal to an to the power 4 plus bn cube plus cn square plus dn plus e. Now if I have to handle the left hand side, I can easily use telescopic series, and the bigger guy will remain unaffected, that is n plus 1 to the power 5 minus 1 to the power 5. Hold on, this is not the result. We have just sorted out the left hand side, and we can apply summation on the right hand side. It will become a sigma n to the power 4 plus b sigma n cube plus c sigma n square plus d sigma n plus sigma e. Now if you know how to handle this. We have already calculated sigma n cube, we have already calculated sigma n square, we have already calculated sigma n, we have already know how to handle sigma constant. So the only thing we are left is a into sigma n to the power 4. So solving this equation, we can find sigma n to the power 4. Do it at your home. Now question number 69. Let A be the sum of first 20 terms and B be the sum of first 40 terms of the series 1 square plus 2 into 2 square plus 3 square plus 2 into 4 square plus 5 square plus 2 into 6 square and so on. So if B minus 2A is 100 lambda, then lambda equals 232, 248, 464, 496. As the question says, A is the sum of first 20 terms and B is the sum of first 20 terms of a series 1 square plus 2 into 2 square plus 3 square plus 2 into 4 square plus 5 square plus 2 into c square and so on. So we'll try to rearrange this series. I can see that all the even terms are doubled. So I can say 1 square plus 2 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus 4 square plus 4 square and so on. Now we'll try to first take all the natural numbers together, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can write 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus 4 square and so on. And every even guy would give me 1 extra 2 square, 4 square, and it would be so on. As you can observe from the series that every odd place term is the square of its rank and every even place is double the square of its rank. So rewriting A as 1 square plus 2 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus 4 square plus 4 square. Since we know there are 20 terms in A, so I can say the last term is the even, so it could be 20 square plus 20 square. So we'll try to write A square as 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus 4 square up to 20 square plus 2 square plus 4 square plus 20 square. And similarly, b could be written as 1 square plus 2 square plus 2 square. As we know, b has 40 terms, it will go up to 40 square plus 40 square. Now rewriting it, 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square up to 40 square plus 2 square plus 4 square up to 40 square. So the question wants you to solve a and b separately and then put values in the equation given to find lambda, and evaluate a and b and put their values in the equation to find lambda. So choose the correct option. So coming to the detailed solution part, a is 1 square plus 2 square. We have already understood a as written as 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square up to 20 square plus 2 square plus 4 square up to 20 square. Now we know this is the sum of first 20 squares, so we can write n into n. We can apply this result, n sigma n square is n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 by 6. So we can write n is equal to 20, so 20 into 21 into 41 by 6. I can take 2 square as common since every even numbers are there, so 2 square will be out. We'll be getting 1 square plus 2 square up to 10 square. Now we'll be applying the same sigma n square in this series, so we'll be getting 2870 by solving this, and then 2 square will become 4, and I'll put n is equal to 10, so it will become 10 into 11 into 21 by 6. That makes it 2870 plus 1540. That makes it a equals 4410. Similarly, b would be written as we have already shown it, so it could be simplified in 1 square plus 2 square up to 40 square plus 2 square plus 4 square up to 40 square. So we can simplify this by writing 40 into 41 into 81 by 6, again applying sigma n square, and here taking 2 square as common, we'll get 1 square plus 2 square up to 20 square. So it will be 22140 plus 4 into 20 into 21 into 41 by 6, which makes it 221401148 plus 11480. We'll get the answer as 33620. So A is 4410 and B is 33620. So now putting the values in the given equation, b minus 2a is 100 lambda. So lambda would be 33620. That was the value of b, minus twice of the value of a, that is 2 into 4410 upon 100. So we'll be getting lambda equals 248. So option 2 is the correct choice. As you can see, this is the 2, so we'll take 2. Thank you.